So Legion, chapter 7? Yeah, 7. It's 8 chapters, and this is the penultimate one. I'm Hank!
And I'm Andrew.
Yeah, that's how we do that.
That's going to be the regular thing from now on.
So did you enjoy it?
I did. It's sad that this is... I haven't quite come to terms with this being the second last one.
Yeah, it was really good. Do you know the actor who plays David is British?
Yeah, I did. I've seen him in other stuff. It was nice that they let him use his accent in this.
Yeah.
What the fuck? He was in Downton Abbey or something. I didn't see him there, but that's
British actor was.
Sure,
I think that's a rule. I felt like this episode was just like, oh, everything I've ever thought was right. Like, it was just confirmation across the board on everything. Like, I feel like they handled the Professor X thing, and they did a really good job of it.
I feel like it's something that might not be good enough for everybody, but for people who know the drill, I liked it.
There is a real, I feel bad for anybody who doesn't get the full story or who is sort of disappointed by that, but I don't give a fuck because it was perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. I almost want to see the people who just see the little wheel and they're like, wait, what the fuck? And it doesn't go anything else other than that.
The animation was so cute for it.
That was great. I really liked that whole sequence and how even when he wasn't expressly writing on the chalkboard, it was still moving. Yeah. And it's like very clearly Professor Xavier, and he's just sort of like, I don't even know how to picture him.
It was such a, it was a clear cartoon of Professor X in, like, the most obvious way. Mm-hmm. Did you catch there's a bit in the background where I think he says something about, like, why didn't he want me, and you see the cartoon reach out for him? It's super cute.
Oh, no, I don't. Oh, yeah, I did.
It's a little tiny background
It reaches out to David outside of the chalkboard. Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, it was sort of sweet. Like, I feel like there were elements there that could have been kind of like, you know what I mean? Like cringe-worthy. I don't know what the saying is, but yeah, it was all handled very tastefully. Adoption stuff especially is it's like walking on eggshells.
The whole episode is just such a fucking dump of information.
Yeah, it's probably the most expositional the show's ever been. I
really liked the part where when Carrie says, the dog's name is King. I should have known this from the very beginning.
Yes!
Like, thank you for stepping in and being the audience watching this.
Yeah, I'm glad that I noticed that.
He, in the context, or like out of the context of the show, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like he's a perfect Hank McCoy.
The guy who plays male Carrie?
Yeah, and I don't mean like as an actor, but I just mean like this character. The character of Carrie, like the super brainy Joker guy, that's what I wanted that character role to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. This was a big episode for him, too. I feel like this is probably the most time we've spent with him and not, like, the other Carrie.
I've been watching, like, every episode, like, 2 or 3 times when it comes out, but I haven't really gone back and rewatched everything. And there's a bunch of stuff with him where, like, I think the first... Like, he's in from episode 2 on.
I think so, yeah.
And I feel like you don't get a handle on him for the first few.
Not right
and I'm going to
have
a totally different interpretation of him on a second watching of it. Especially because, like, he did seem super dickish when you first meet him.
Yeah, or sort of weird.
I really like him. Like,
yeah, he seems nice, kind. He's one of the... There's not a character on this show that I don't really like.
Well, there's characters I care less about. Like,
sure.
What's his name? Telekinetic-y dude. Like, they didn't really invest anything in him. And, like, yeah, that's exactly. But at the same time, they still kind of used him as an ace in the hole, and I like the way that was seeded. They killed off the fucking eye.
In spectacular fashion.
Before I forget, so I saw 2 really big references, which were just, like, Beetlejuice. Did you get that? Did it feel like they were doing, Aubrey Plaza was doing a Beetlejuice?
I could see that.
Like, just between the hair and the suit that she was in, and even just sort of the way she moved, it felt like it was almost...
Yeah, I could see that. It felt Beetlejuicy.
And the other is, have you seen They Live?
No.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, it's a John Carpenter movie, and it's about spoilers for They Live. Aliens are invading... and they've like permeated all of our culture, and they're affecting our advertising and what's on TV. And this dude who's a professional wrestler in the real world finds these sunglasses that if you wear them, you can see who's an alien and who's not.
So yeah,
and
very
like
much.
when he looks at, there'll be a billboard that says something like, I don't know, take a vacation or whatever, but when he puts it on, it's just a piece of white paper with the word bye in the center of it. And there's all this... Sorry.
Wow. Everybody, we're joined today by Ray Romano.
I'm going to keep up my Ray Romano for the rest of this podcast.
I'm sure that'll go very well for our listeners.
I feel
Listener
bad now.
singular.
Yeah, so that's another where, like, that goes beyond to, like, oh, that kind of reminded me of They Live, of like, oh no, they did an homage to They Live within their thing. Like, if you do sunglasses, the way you see an alternate reality. Mm-hmm. And I mean, They Live is you should see it's a really good, it's a classic cult film.
I know of it as its importance in that genre. It's like it's a staple film.
It's really simple in its way. I want to say, like, it's one of the super big precursors to The Matrix. It's a real, reality isn't what you think it is.
Yeah.
And also, this is an action movie where, like, first you're going to learn that reality isn't what you think it is, and then you're going to see a big, beefy guy fucking smash shit because of it. It's not like you learn something. Anyways, that's They Live.
Works for me. No, yeah, speaking of They Live, no. Back to Legion. The Eye, yeah, we must get more there. Like, I feel like we got no insight into him as not only a character, but, like, even just what he can do.
It's weird. I think when I went on to Wikipedia and was looking up other stuff, it said he had the power to create illusions, which...
makes sense.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, I don't know if we ever saw him use that power until they revealed that he wasn't the dude who we thought was the dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like...
The Doctor, you mean?
If he's dead, and I'm pretty sure... I think he is. I think he's just dead.
Although if his power is illusions...
Yeah.
But I would say right now we have no reason to believe that he is not dead.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've kind of transversed us back to the old original... I don't want to call that guy the villain, antagonist.
And that was a cool reveal, too. That felt probably one of the more comic booky moments of the whole show, is like, I was never dead, but I'm now disfigured.
Speaking of comic booky, them doing a breakfast scene, like, that's a classic X-Men trope to me. To, like, to see the X-Men, like, I feel like there's a bunch of issues that I grew up reading where, like, that's the whole crux of the issue, is you get to see the X-Men hanging out together and, like, decompressing after an adventure.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing for most stories, but particularly, I always think of stuff like that, like the scenes in the, what's it called? The Xavier Mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's the stuff I like most for the X-Men, is that sort of character building.
It's the real classic, like, you want to see them play baseball at some point as well. Not that I care, but at the same time, there is a part of me that is, like, that's a classic X-Men thing, is all of them
They
in
did
the
that
backyard.
recently, in the past week, in Extraordinary X-Men.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, because it's the last issue for that. Spoilers for Extraordinary X-Men number, what is it, 25 or something?
Spoilers, they play baseball.
Yeah.
The X-Men always play baseball. But it's back to that thing of Legion is such a good X-Men show.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. I never would have expected coming into this that I would enjoy this show so much, and that it would be as weird and as high quality as it is.
I definitely didn't know what to expect from it. I'm so glad that it's not... Some of my main expectations were that we would get a much more conventional, every personality has a name and every personality has a power and you learn a different one every episode, and then there's more of a, like, even arc on that, and the exploration of insanity has been the coolest part to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're sort of jumping around, I feel, but, like, having David have himself as the character he interacts with most in this episode, and them just letting him use his accent, it was so interesting to see how himself, or he as an actor, can inhabit two different sides of the same character, if that makes sense.
Well, and one of those,
rambling.
like, it's like so many things in this show, it's on the edge and maybe even past the edge of cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
But it works so well.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know, if it is cheesy, then it is a pizza cheesy. I don't know, I'm just like, it is, but it is, like, it's weirdly cartoonish all over the place, but never detrimentally so. Like, it all just, again, it makes it that much more surreal and weird. And, like, it makes me think about watching something like a Coen Brothers movie where people are almost cartoon characters.
Sure. Well, if I may reference A Wise Prophet, it ain't easy being cheesy. And I mean that with, like, it's set itself up so that it works. Like, in a different show, I don't want to throw names out or anything, but in, like, a lower quality show...
Iron Fist.
Sure.
I have no horse in that race. I didn't watch Iron Fist.
I thought it was fine.
Cool.
Definitely problematic. But, yeah, in a different show that's not as fun, not as high quality, like, these moments would fall so flat. Jermaine Clement's character wouldn't work in 90% of other shows. And he's one of the best parts.
Oh, man. Yeah, him doing his weird psychic music,
so cool.
Poetry thing was so cool. And, like, again, like, for an over-the-top moment when David gets shot in the back and then turns around and holds his hands. Like,
I was scared.
Yeah. Well, I was scared, but in the weirdest, like... I know David's not going to die, and when I saw him get shot, what I was thinking is, like, fuck, I hope we don't have to waste a bunch of time with him slowly bleeding out before his powers kick in and he saves himself. Or, like, I hope this doesn't get drawn out and turned into something dumb. And then it was just like, no.
I'm fine. I had sort of the opposite thing where as soon as he got quote-unquote shot, my mind was racing, like, oh, fuck, like, how could this show work without David? Like, if David dies, could we proceed, and how would we do it? Like, would he possess somebody else? Like, my mind in that moment went crazy.
I am so curious as to what their plans for season 2 are.
Do you think they'll have another, like, comic book villain?
I think so.
Yeah?
I watched a thing on YouTube that did talk about a story that had a connection. There was a previous connection between David being taken over by the Shadow King in X-Men comics before, and like it's one of those, this isn't that thing, but there is a bit of a precedent for what happens. So I'd be curious to know how much they are still looking at X-Men continuity and, like, we're going to take some other weird Legion story from 3 pages in this one X-Men annual that nobody remembers and make that. The thing I half expected that only the, what's his name, who plays David would be the only actor who would appear in every season.
Okay.
But I'm really wondering whether or not he's going to remain with all of these people at the end of this.
Really?
But it seems really likely to me that they will. Like even just in the conventions of TV, I don't know, but it's that weird... Okay, I guess part of the reason I'm thinking this is, like, Fargo is a different time period every season. And because of that, they can get some really interesting actors because they're only locking them in for one season's worth of filming. Yeah. So it sort of makes me wonder how much these people were in the same thing of, like, yeah, you come in, you're going to do 1 season of this, it's like, whatever it is, 4 months of filming, and then you're done and you're out. And next season, it's going to be a whole different cast with just David. I don't think that's going to be what happens.
No, I mean, that being said, I don't think Jermaine Clement's making it through the season. Because I think he's just too high profile for them to keep around on a multiple season thing.
Oh, I'm so sad when you say that.
I know, I agree.
That would really bum me out.
I think it would poetically be good for Melanie as well, because it's like just as she gets him back, he's taken away again. I don't know that he'll die, but that's sort of
so bummed out.
I know.
Because that seems really...
likely. I'm also super heartbroken that Carrie is mad at Carrie.
Yeah.
I hate that, but it's because I like them so much.
And that both sides like he had to abandon her to save her. Like, that's the only way that they were able to all be rescued anyways. But I also kind of get that. No, like, if I'm fucked, you should be fucked with me. Like, where that is...
Or even maybe he could have helped.
Well, and... I don't know. the way they manifested in the psychic realm was so weird for that. Because, like, they show one moment where she still has her powers, but she never used them.
I don't think it was necessarily even that she couldn't have overpowered him. It was not having him there was so jarring to her that she sort of shut down.
No, that totally makes sense. And was, yeah, it was horrible to watch. That was the really, like, oh, the Eye is a crappy guy. And then all of a sudden he turned into this different kind of...
It's like predatory. And we still don't know what he wanted.
Apparently to eat her.
Is that what we landed on?
He did say that. He did that thing where he approached her and said, like, have you ever eaten something while it's still alive?
Oh, I felt like that was maybe supposed to be poetic.
I see, I don't know. It also kind of hits me of like, I don't know, this is my outlook, but like, that's such a mutant thing to say.
Wow.
Well, there was a vaguely saber-toothy element to him. Like, he was the hunter tracker, even getting into like, Sabretooth has weird hair and funky sideburns. Like, there's a part of, again, those are I project that on it. I don't know if that was something somebody was legitimately thinking, again, in the same way that Melanie is just like an older version of the White Queen.
And with a bit of Xavier tossed in there, yeah.
And Jermaine Clement, like, he looks like somebody who was in the fucking Hellfire Club. Remember when they were going to do a Hellfire Club TV show?
I do remember that, yeah. Didn't it have a simpler name?
I think it was Hellfire.
I think it was just Hellfire, yeah. Yeah, I'm not upset that didn't happen.
Well, I think that was talked about, that was going to happen at the same time that Legion was happening, and that kind of died off, and like, I wonder...
if pieces of that got taken over?
Moreover, I just wonder, like, how difficult this was to get made. Like, how much the studio was willing to let them just take a chance and do something fucking crazy.
I mean, I think it paid off. I don't know what sort of, like, ratings or whatever it's getting. But...
I see positive acclaim when I look online, so I certainly think it's the best show I've ever seen.
I love it. I'm very happy. I don't know how I feel about, like, platitudes, but I think it's very good. I think it is top quality.
Cool. Well, that was Chapter 7. The next one of these we do is at the end of the series, and that's all there is to it. Then we don't have to spend so much time around each other. So
until next season.
Looking forward to that.